I go to back on the dog, I need everybody to be seated. Occasionally I do bump, I really don't want to knock anybody down. And if you want to outside the bowl, let's keep hands and elbows on the inside of the bowl. We won't lose anybody, boys, right here. There's a time and a place for everything. I'm going to try to bring some of y'all back. So you volunteer to go overboard? Now, if something happens and they would need their life jacket, they're behind the house. Okay, my adult life jacket. The waterway we on right now, the Intracoastal Waterway, it's a man-made canal. To the right of me, it runs all the way to Matagorda Bay, Mexico. To the left of me, all the way to Florida. And there's a different section that heads up to New Jersey. They dug this here waterway in 1940 during World War II. But it gets shipping supplies from one port to the other. The waterway up ahead of me is Bayou Barataria. It used to run out to the left of me, which started over the Mississippi River, but they captured that section. Today, Bayou Barataria starts at the point of this island, runs in the southeast direction. For about 27 miles, will take you into the Gulf of Mexico. That's where the large shrimp boats get in and out of this here port. Now, it's okay for people to get up, move around, take pictures. I need you to be seated. I'm going to let you know. Chances are you're sitting on the wrong side of the boat sooner or later. Be a little flexible. The cemetery here to the left of me, it dates back to the 1700s. Known for father and man. I got a great grandmother buried in the cemetery. You know the newer graves, they're on top of the ground. The older ones are buried in the ground. We weren't doing the hurricane. We get them towers over. And the cancers come popping out the ground. You build it a little bit high, it just might not happen. A friend of mine, he buried his grandmother 3 times. She said she'd come back and haunt him. Every time they come over to the kids, that's all that problem. What's more amazing about the cemetery is not the modern graves. It's the hill in the middle of the cemetery. This hill is the Indian burial mound. Archaeologists dug down on the inside that mound and by the tools and the weapons they found. They carbon dated 500 AD. Hank Williams Sr., he wrote 2 songs sitting on this mound. He wrote Out so Lonesome I Can Cry and Jambalaya. The Plymouth family bought the last remaining acres to the Merchant Plantation in 1910. The Canadian home from the cemetery of the Merchants, up ahead of the Plymouth Air Force was bought that. Movies such as Mandingo and Hard Target were filmed on the plantation land. Inside the plantation home, there were segments to interview with them playing film. It's closed to the public. They do open it up for special occasions for the plantation home. We have 3 communities from around here behind me where they left from the Ground Point. To the left of me is the town of Levine. And to the right of me is Barataria, which I'm from Barataria. My mother's family goes back to my great-great-grandparents who used to own the plantation. The Akbar plantation many years ago. The word Barataria refers to the pirate G. Levine. His followers were called his Barataria. In definition, the word Barataria means dishonest secret. I'm a Barataria. Believe anytime you want. People around here, a lot of them still think they're living on the water, taking shrimp, fish, crab, oysters, and we work with petroleum industry all again. That boat down the bayou was a little bit of plane. These type of boats are used to catching shrimp on the infield water. The type of net they use these days is what's called the bait camera. Swing that frame out to the side, you lower it down into the water, like pushing 2 big screw things. In the daytime, try to bury yourself into the bottom and hide from the fish. You lower your net all the way down to the bottom. There's a chain that passes front and neck holds the tinkle chain. You try to hear that chain come and they jump off the bottom. And before you know what's going on, the net scoops them up. At night, shrimp come to the top of the water to move location. Working their way to the Gulf of Mexico. They lift your nets up about a foot out the water. If not, the shrimp can jump right over your net. And when it comes down for catching shrimp, we have a few secrets. Our first season starts off about May 15th, lasts into the month of July. It's the brown shrimp. August 15th to the first of the year, the white shrimp. You go into the Gulf of Mexico, you get these shrimp year round. In the month of February, March, April, it's a little slow out the Gulf. Shrimp are few and far between. I used to work on a shrimp boat when I first got out of high school. Better regulations and a couple of bad years that I got out of shrimping. That's when the federal government come out with debt, turtle exclusion devices. Hurricane force winds for 36 hours. The winds came down, the water came up, another 7-foot tidal surge. A 7-foot tidal surge gave me a foot of water in my house. Me and my dad would lifting things up, we saved a lot of things. I know people that had 5, 6 foot of water in their house 3 times. I consider myself lucky, only a foot of water. All the land around here was built part of a delta building process of the Mississippi River. Like thousands of years ago, the mighty Mississippi would overflow her banks every spring. When she overflowed her banks, she would leave silt deposits. These silt deposits created all the land you see today. In the early 1900s, they built levees to protect New Orleans from the spring flood. And when they built the levees, they took away our silt deposits and gave us erosion. We're losing 1 acre of land every 6 minutes, averaging 25 square miles of wetlands in a year's time. What we do to protect our land, we put up the solid concrete or wood walls, and we put up the big rocks. It's back in the swamp that we're losing the most of our wetlands. When we created that rate, that was in 05, they estimated 250 square miles of wetlands gone in 1 year. Tell you where the cemeteries at that we passed by at one time, the roads that were so bad, you can actually see the casket from the bayou side. The Corps of Engineers that added the link, then they put the big rocks to protect it. 56% of all the wetlands in the world are gone. It's not just one of our problems, it's a worldwide problem. Them tall trees up ahead to the left, dark green with grayish in them. These trees are live oaks and green year-round except for the month of March. In the month of March, they lose the old leaves to make room for new leaves. And the roots of live oaks, they grow down till they hit the water table. And they'll spread outward and cover large areas of ground. All the old cages and the plantations, they built among these live oaks years ago. Where the high land used to be. The grayish stuff you see hanging in the trees is called Spanish moss. It has nothing to do with Spain, it has nothing to do with moss. It's an airplane. It's from the Anaphyte family, the same as a pineapple of a million. Like moisture from the air, dust from the air that makes its own food. And growing a living tree, a dead tree, even see growing on the power lines. And the way it gets from tree to tree is by the wings of a bird or by the wind. Breathes oxygen, gives off carbon dioxide. Now some actually killing the trees is not the Spanish moss. It could be a parasite in the Spanish moss. So a lot of times it's just erosion, weakening the root system, causing it to die. Early cages used to harbor that Spanish moss. It would soak it in water for 3 to 4 weeks to kill it. Hang it on there fast and let it dry. Another 6 to 8 weeks, the grayish bark would fall off. It turned dark brown. Now we use the stuff of your mattress, furniture. The Model A and the Model T automobile seats were stuck with it. In 1941, they came out with that form rubber. When they came out with the form rubber, they did away with the Spanish moss because it was flammable. Today they use it for planting of land, and some of the crab shops sell it. I can't believe Yankees actually buy that stuff. The large body of water up ahead of us is Lake Salvador. It's a brackish water lake, about 20 miles long, 8 miles wide. And the average depth is about 6 feet. Being brackish water means we have some type of salt content. You take the Gulf of Mexico, that salt content is like 15 parts per 1,000. Up in here we get as high as 7 parts per 1,000. And then sometimes of the year we get a lot of northwest, we have a lot of rain. And then salt content will drop down to 0. So we can get fresh and saltwater fish. The types of saltwater fish are like redfish, speckled trout, sheephead, drum, flounder. Freshwater, there's perch, sac-a-lait, largemouth bass, several different types of catfish. And this little fishy right here, this is the head of an alligator gar, G-A-R. It's now similar to an alligator, with the body and the tail of a fish. This fish gets to be 10 feet long, operated for 350 pounds. So we're going to pass them around, watch out for them teeth. You grab them around, you get your free blood test. No way. To the right of us here, there's a well that was producing crude oil. After Katrina, they re-drilled this well, they put a gas lifter in, but they would inject natural gas underneath the crude oil. And the natural gas would bubble up and crude oil would come up with it. In this case here, it would burn off the natural gas. So the crude oil in the tanks. Once a month they come out here and they collect that crude oil. There's thousands of wells on the small beach, one simple, a little bit different. All the land back up and we are privately owned. You own the land, you control who's doing the hunting. We hunt animals like rabbits, squirrels, raccoons, wild boar, white-tailed deer, ducks, geese. Some people love to hunt. Some people live to hunt. Some people hunt to live. The waterways out here are privately owned. If you can prove they're man-made canals, you can leave them private. If they're naturally made, then they're free to the public. The logging companies that logged the birds in Cypress were the first to dig the canals in the late 1800s. By the 1940s, they came out here to drill for gas and oil. We don't own the waterways. We have a lease of the waterways. There's an alligator to the right on the bank. Okay, we see an alligator. We go back to the dock now. Let it dry.
Job's done.
It's a nice small gator. This is the part where it's just like a frog set there just to trick us. Small gator. So I'll throw a rock.
That's it.
You gotta know if it's alive.
Yeah.
What if it's
How
just a prop?
about just assume? Just assume.
There to trick us.
It's so cute.
Hey, gator. Yeah, they made it big. Stuck it on this big.
It's relaxing. Oh.
That's probably a good 7. Let's go 10.
Cute.
Yeah, that's still not bad.
Because
it was moving, so I'm waiting for it to move again.
Throw a rock in again. Oh.
Here it goes, look at that.
Here it comes.
Coming towards us. He's gonna eat us. Oh! Where'd he go?
He's gonna attack us.
He's gonna come attack it.
Oh, that was the cutest thing.
Where'd he go?
You are He did not like us.
This is running about probably about 6 foot today, but you can't walk across the water. Under the water is humus. It's dead vegetation that died and fallen to the bottom. This humus produces methane gas. The key ingredient is natural gas. It also produces tannic acid, which stains the water. The water's not dirty, it's stained. Give you an idea of what I'm talking about. It's tannic acid. And because of the tea is stained. You go swimming out here, you don't want to wear no white. It's gonna stain too easy. Back when my boys were growing up, I used to bring them swimming out here. One time I had the 3 boys, a niece and a nephew out here swimming. And a 4.5-foot alligator come up about 50 foot from the boat. You should have seen them kids get out that water when I alligator. I ain't never seen them move that fast. After they got out the water, I jumped in towards the alligator. I'm bigger than a 4.5-foot alligator. I've got to be a 10, 12-foot alligator. Ain't no way I'd have jumped in there. There's a thin line between crazy and stupid. I've been known to walk that line. I've kissed 12-foot alligators. You can see the video on YouTube. It's called Crocodile Kiss. One of the tourists posted it. I would never call a crocodile anything. See a crocodile out here, you let me know. Alligators are cold-blooded. They have to hibernate during the winter. First thing they're going to do in that hibernation is they quit eating. They live off the fat material. One diet pro, you bottle that up and sell it. I know people that go through 3 years of the fat material. Temperatures drop down to the low 40s. And alligators are going to bury themselves into the soft humus at the bottom. And they can stay under for 2 to 3 weeks. They slow that heart rate down to 1 to 4 beats a minute. Very small brain, very little oxygen. The weather warms up, they come up at least get them a breath of fresh air. And if it's really nice to climb up on the banks to sunbathe, we say hibernation can possibly start in October and last all the way to April, depending on the weather. I've seen late November when they start their hibernation. And by the middle of February, they're out of it. A lot of people think we tropical, we subtropical, we do 3. In '89, we had 6 inches of snow that lasted for 3 days. The ice back here lasted over a week. Yeah, that's like y'all talking about y'all get hot weather. How hot y'all get? You get hundreds? Okay, in the summer it's 100 degrees. How much does it cool down at night with that 100 degrees? We cool down to 89 degrees at night. So when the sun comes up, you're 90 degrees. You might peak at 100. But we're at 90 degrees for 12 hours during the day. And we're cutting our grass twice a week. Grass is growing so fast. You know, so yeah, y'all do get hot. Like we get cold. You get it, but it doesn't last. And you probably deal with the cold better than you could do that heat. Because you're used to the cold. We're not used to the cold. We're shutting down bridges and everything. But we can deal with heat. Everybody's got air conditioning. And you know, look, you're gonna find a big switch here. When y'all leave? Friday, tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be cold. It's going to be cold as it was today. They given a high of 85 degrees. Record highs. Tomorrow the high is going to be 60 degrees. We're so used to the heat now. Now with that 50 degrees, it's going to feel colder. With a hard wind blowing, especially on the water. See, I'm having windows shut tomorrow because it's cold. Alligators are territorial. I'm going in areas where I've seen them at before. A female alligator got a half a mile territory, a male's got about a mile. Except for mating season when a male can travel 10 miles looking for the female. And if we have to, we start throwing people overboard. And just in case you do go overboard, remember alligators can swim too. Alligators can swim 10 miles an hour on top of the water. Under the water, they can swim 15 miles an hour. On dry land, we get up on all fours. And alligators can reach speeds up to 25 miles an hour. So if an alligator's after, all we got to do is outrun the slowest person. But I think you might be one of them slow people. You wore the wrong shoes. Remember, alligators have short legs, long bodies. When they go to turn, they have to almost come to a complete stop. So you zigzag. 40, 50 feet, and their little legs are really tied from carrying the big heavy bodies. And for the people on the outside of the boat, alligators can leap out the water over half the distance of their body. A 6-foot alligator can possibly leap 3 to 4 feet out the water with no problem. You've got your hand on the outside of the boat. We get an alligator next to the boat that's nothing more than a handout. And alligators love handouts. Dog meat, white meat, old meat, young meat, it don't make a difference. They eat it first and figure out they like it later. Alligators do sunbathe. They sunbathe to warm their blood. They sunbathe to heat up their digestive fluids. Temperature's going to be 90, 95 degrees every day. They quit sunbathing. If their blood reaches 105 degrees, they'll cook them right. During the hot summertime, they can spend most of their time in the water trying to keep cool. They don't have sweat glands. They use the water to cool their body off. They don't have tear glands. You might have heard the saying, crocodile tears. That's a fake cry. Another alligator in the water. What about you? Play with me. Easy. Bang-see. Easy means here. Bang-see, come here. Cajun alligators don't say hello French. Fortunately, I don't. Could be going to hell and just by you know what.
Its head is a little bit of its back is sticking.
Oh, I see it.
Easy. But that's the marshmallow I threw out there. Sometimes we get alligators to eat marshmallows. Alligators eat the marshmallow because they taste better than the Cub Scouts. No, alligators eat marshmallow because they get like they float. They have a nocturnal vision. They only see images in the daytime. At night they see really good.
See, there's got like a little red thing.
So when we throw people overboard, it's the people wearing the most white. And the bus driver is exempt from that.
Thank you.
So you're gonna have to take one for the team now.
That's all right.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
We
it's
keep
moving.
moving.
It's a lie. When you see an alligator in the water, the way you judge the size from the tip of the snout to the eyes. Every inch of snout like a foot of alligator is something we know from years of hunting them. And alligators have float bladders. They can float their whole body or just their head, depending on how comfortable they are with us. They need to be full there. That's what happens when you throw too many kids overboard. The turtles out here, they're soft-shelled turtles, painted turtles, radius sliders, that's the little green turtle everybody has a pet at one time. We get snapping turtles, and we get the alligator snapping turtles. The alligator snapping turtle, they claim get to be 300 pounds. Now, the biggest I've seen is 135 pounds, and that's the ones we used to make turtle soup out of. We could just guess the age of an alligator. Scientists can actually tell us the age. They removed the inner ear bone because the ear bone in half. Under a microscope, they count the rings in the bone and they count the rings in the tree. Then a lot of people ask me, well, how do you tell if this boy is a girl? Shove your finger in and feel for the male sex organ. If you ever watch Old Dirty Jobs, there's an episode they go into the alligator farm and they sex the alligators. I'm going to tell you, every alligator around here is a male. 4 out of 5 litters are females, and anybody's welcome to prove me wrong. Be the first. Get ready, brother. He's going to move. flat grassy area in front of us is marshland. I pushed this boat up into that marsh. And we got out and tried to walk around. We get 5 or 6 steps. And sooner or later we're going to sink up to our knees, up to our crouch. Have to crawl out of the eye level with the alligators and snakes. Sound like fun, don't it?
Not really.
I'll let the ladies go first.
Okay.
Oh, come on. You don't want to take one for the team?
No.
What kind of person are you? Selfish, huh? Selfish, huh?
Yeah.
You see, impulsive means no hunting, no trespassing. It's just a way to mark your property. I gather people knew how to spell trespassing. They would write no trespassing. Then who could read it? The tree itself is a cypress tree, is the second growth cypress. Our virgin cypress, some of them trees were 250 foot tall, 12 feet in diameter. Took the logging company 30 years to cut them all down. And when they cut them all down, the state of Louisiana was paying 3 cents an acre. Somebody made some money, wasn't the state, but we known for crooked politicians. And the virgin cypress had an agent in its wood called cypressium to prevent it against termites and prevent it against rot. Today's cypress doesn't have as much cypressium. They will rot, then termites will get to it. That's the wood used to build plantations, shrimp boats. A lot of the wood was even shipped out of the state. Well, I gotta meet a friend of mine. You don't want to play.
Right there.
Oh, that's a big guy.
Alligators normally eat fur animals like rabbits, squirrels. Things they punch up and swallow whole. They also eat the birds and the fish. But the birds and the fish are a little faster than the fur animals. That's a different one. An alligator is an opportunist feeder. They'll eat once a day or once every 2 weeks. Whatever the food's available. And they'll actually eat until they're regurgitating. Don't know when they had enough. They're like some friends of mine. So let's say an alligator caught something a little too large to swallow whole. Let's say they caught like a white-tailed deer. They drag it deer into the water and they go into what's called the death roll. They ground the deer. Then they try to rip a piece of meat off. But a lot of times the deer's a little too tough. So what they do is they stuff the deer in a log or branch into the water and they let them marinate, tenderize for 2 to 3 weeks. After it's nice and tender, then they come back and try to rip a piece of meat off. So I can honestly tell you fell overboard. An alligator would never eat you alive. You kill it first. You feel better? In the state of Louisiana, the last 20 years we've had 4 alligator attacks. 1 fatality. A dog that was dragging there. Speaking of dogs, a lot of people tell me the alligators love dogs. What's a dog? Furry animal. What's a dog do when he sees something like an alligator? Goes jumping up and down and barking, I'm over here! I'm about to take giveaway, especially those Mexican snacks and chihuahuas. Should have brought an alligator, would have loved them. We got about 35 different types of snakes out here. But there's only 6 of them that are considered to be deadly. 3 of them are rattlesnakes, the eastern diamondback, the timber, and the pinky rattlesnake. There's copperheads. The most common snake of all is a water moccasin.
You know, just one of
He's
them.
got the nickname the cotton mouth because the inside of his mouth is the color of raw cotton. Kind of a whitish pink. He's also the most aggressive. I've seen him come after a boat on the lake.
Oh yes, I'm.
You get bitten by a snake, make sure you know what type it is. They treat you for the wrong type, they're gonna kill you a little faster. The most unusual snake of all is the coral snake. What makes it so unusual? You think a deadly snake, everybody always think of big fangs. The snake don't have no fangs. Got a northern nerve endings, any way it can pinch the skin, especially between the fingers on the earlobe. It attacks the nervous system directly, slowly shutting down the nervous system so it shuts down a major organ. And there is no antidote. How did they make the antidote? They milk the venom, they turn the venom into an antivenom. There's no fangs to milk them. The snake is about 3 feet long and he's banded red, yellow, and black. Telling me king snake. We'll say we teach to the Cub Scouts, redneck to yellow will kill a fellow, redneck to black are afraid of jacks. And these snakes do climb up the trees to sunbathe. EC. They ain't see. Had a woman one time, she went to grab some of the Spanish moss out of the trees, and when she did, a snake fell into the boat. They scared the hell out of that poor snake. You bring a snake into the boat, it's yours. Look up in the branches about 2 foot out that water, and you bait it with some chicken. 4 or 5 days old. It's not gonna move, it's not gonna make any noise, it's gonna smell good when the alligator pond. Alligator come along at night, he smell that good chicken. He's gonna jump off, pull a hook out the tree, he swallows it whole. He ain't got no chewing teeth. All he has is that biting teeth. So once he realizes he's hooked, he ain't going nowhere. Next day you come along and run your line, your hook's not up in the tree, you know you got you an alligator. You slowly pull him up, and when the head of that alligator hits the top of the water, you're gonna judgment call. If it's less than 6 foot, my family will let him go, just cut the line. An alligator will dissolve an iron hook in about a month. They'll digest bones in 3 to 4 days. Now brass or stainless steel, you can't digest that. So before we throw somebody... EC. They ain't see. You coming? No.
I think it means come here.
I saw.